Hey you guys, I had so much fun reading through this final project. I just had a couple of access issues, so check your check your messages and whatnot to see if that's you. There are like 4 of you I couldn't access your slides, and 2 of you I couldn't access some of the recordings within. But it was really fun, and I think that I know this isn't a project that felt entirely relevant to all of you, but I hope across the quarter you've experienced through the variety of different kinds of projects at least something that felt intimate to your life, your goals, your plans, just your future in general. So, I want you to spend half an hour to an hour before tomorrow night would be awesome, but if it rolls in Friday night, I don't care. I'm mainly setting that deadline just so that you guys get done with finals week and don't feel like this quarter lingers on. But as you know, I spent the summer, so I knew last year I was going to take on literature for children, and I started thinking and pondering, and I signed up for a course over the summer, and I took a course through Seattle Pacific University, and I did a lot of research, reviewing various textbooks, watching videos, reading articles, listening to audiobooks of children's literature, perusing children's bookstores, and I had the impossible task of choosing one textbook and 3 assigned materials. So Russell's text, Charlotte's Web, House on Mango Street, and When Stars Are Scattered. And the first thing that I would love to know from you in that 30-minute to 1 hour reflection is just, do these books work for you? Did they help you learn something? Do you think that they guided you well in learning the course outcomes? Is there anything where you're like, Amber, keep this. This is awesome. Like, I think that future students should experience this. Are there things where you're like, this didn't quite make sense. It'd be great if week 1 or week 3 or whatever was amplified a little bit or altered in this way, or I wish we would have had more time to look into Harry Potter. It's probably Harry Potter. Anyway, let's kind of talk through this, and then as you guys are listening to this, just take a couple notes. That way you can give me some advice. But we started out the course. You filled out a survey, told me about the reading materials, that you had them or you didn't. You read the syllabus. You introduced yourself kind of in a story form through slides. I think I might change that a bit, make it a little simpler. Then you started getting into week 1, which had to do with the history of children's literature and attitudes surrounding childhood and children. And you read a couple books there and talked about those. And I think like Where the Wild Things Are was a part of that. I gave you guys links to some movie trailers like The Chronicles of Narnia, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. In week 3 and 4, we looked at Charlotte's Web and fantasy fiction, and you guys did a little bit of literary criticism. You did that narrative piece. I think I might amplify that a little bit, like help provide a little more structure for that assignment and guide that. And then as we moved on, we went to week 5 where we looked at picture books and poetry. I thought picture books went really well. I might have you look at I might improve the poetry week a little bit. Then we dove into Reading the World for week 6 and 7, which had us do cultural diversity and inclusion. So you guys, you did the book recommendations discussion, you did the Dear Someone project, then you read House on Mango Street and discussed that. I actually thought all of that went really well. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you have a greater idea. You guys are experienced in lesson planning, so now you have the ability to give suggestions. In week 8, we did challenging topics, and I mentioned already, I think I'm going to move disability into the book recommendations discussion from the week prior. But controversial issues, I still want to, I want to move the disability so I can really focus a little bit more on those controversial issues and have you guys have some more in-depth discussion there. You brought in awesome outside resources about that. The conversations surrounding divorce, death, religion, all of that was really good, and LGBTQ issues. I just thought that was great. But there was a part in there where I showed you some formal defenses of a book. I think there might be some value in writing an actual defense of a challenging book. And then we ended with When Stars Are Scattered and the Reading Engagement Project. I'd like to give future students the whole 2 weeks to do the Reading Engagement Project and let the discussion of the book be kind of building up, like brainstorming ideas for that. And then I'd like to require, and I just kind of, the timeline didn't work. I didn't want to like crunch this in for you guys, but I'd like you to reply to each other's lesson plans by doing one of the activities. And lastly, instead of a reflection in future quarters, I want you to talk about what you think a bookshelf for children should include and look like. So, as you spend half an hour to an hour just reflecting and giving me advice, which again, good advice I always tell students is like, keep doing this and maybe stop doing that. Or what if you did this? It'd be most helpful to me if you were just positive and framing like, inspiring energy into my teaching practice. So I would benefit from that so much. And it would also tell me like, what did you really learn here? And that leads me to the second half. I'd love to have you tell me like, because we're not fully answering that question about a bookshelf, just like 3-sentence minimum paragraph, but more would be awesome, about what you think a children's bookshelf should look like. Like what values do you now have inside where you're like, it should be like this, it should include, and this goes beyond diversity, because we've already kind of answered that question. So of course I want that in there, but what else did you learn should shape and guide a bookshelf for children? Or just what did you learn? And maybe it's something that I didn't even think about. And then I'm like, I want all students to learn that. How can I facilitate that? You guys have been awesome. I know probably the thing I'm probably the most critical about of myself this quarter is the grading contract, which is why I had those conferences. But I'm sure you guys are still wondering like, okay, so we said this, am I good? I will be dealing with that immediately, like over the next, like tonight and tomorrow, and trying to get you some emails and just make sure like we are on the same page. And I have great ideas for next quarter how to fix that, because now that I've played out the course, I can see what an actual like clear grading contract could be. Thank you for just bearing with me and giving me a lot of grace. I hope you felt grace in return, and I really hope you enjoyed learning, because that's what learning should be. It should be enjoyable, and it should be fun in the sense that sometimes it's lighthearted, but also fun in the sense that sometimes it's heavy and difficult and challenging. And I had so much fun with you guys this quarter. So again, thank you, and let me know if you have any questions at all. But enjoy the rest of your finals week. Good luck with all of your other courses. Have an awesome spring break, and feel free to say hello in the future via email or take my English 102 class, or I don't know. I'll see you guys around. Have a good one.